I got a recent fan mail from Cleveland, Ohio that read, "Could you do some special episodes where men are the victim? I love your stuff, but sometimes feel excluded because I'm a male victim. A lot of my experiences are the same, but they seem very different because I'm a man." First of all, I just really want to thank Cleveland, Ohio for sending this message. And you're right, there's a lot of content online that is targeted towards women victims, not the men victims. And we do need to increase our sensitivity because abuse happens to both men and women. The statistics, according to the government, is that there is nearly as many women narcissists as there are men. I think it's like something like 5% of women to 6 or 7% of men. But they're not far off from 50-50. And it's interesting how we tend to focus more on the male narcissist than we do on the female narcissist. So Cleveland, Ohio, I want to let you know that I do have a planned episode coming up, but I'm going to be interviewing a host of a male podcast specifically targeting men who experience some form of abuse. So please hold on. I will make it more of an effort to try to present it from both sides, not just from a woman being abused by men, but also men being abused by women. So I appreciate that you're a follower and I appreciate the request. So thank you so much, Cleveland, Ohio. I recently got a fan mail letter from someone in Westminster, California, and she wrote, "I can't heal. My world after surviving for 16 years is at its end. He has successfully destroyed me even though I've had to flee. So my son will still have a mom. Even 400 miles away with complex PTSD, I'm now left with such massive debt that I can't continue with the exorbitant attorney fees, and I'm still not divorced." This is a common problem when we get out of toxic relationships, that we feel utterly devastated. And unfortunately, we often think the abuse will stop because we've out of the relationship, but it doesn't. It continues into post-separation abuse. And the level of degree of helplessness and hopelessness we feel is extraordinary. We often end up feeling like we are beaten down and that there's nothing more that we can do. So I want to give a few pieces of encouragement here. And in no way do I want to minimize the terrible impact that you've experienced, the terrible tragedy and trauma, or how utterly wiped out that you're feeling. But I want to encourage you to know that you're in the middle of something that's unthinkable, and that sometimes winning is breathing. Sometimes winning is holding on and not collapsing under the weight of the tragedy. I also want you to remember that healing is non-linear. Often we'll experience burnout, grief, and rage. These are all just parts of the healing. Not actually signs of failure, but signs of recovery. Your exhaustion isn't a sign of weakness. It's actually the residue of surviving something horrific for years on end. Take the time to heal. Think of it like taking baby steps. You heard the old adage, the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. You have to approach your recovery and even divorce and the post-separation abuse in a similar way, one small step at a time. You are fighting not just for yourself, but you're also fighting for your family, for your child. So think about what you're actually in control of right now. Sometimes I find it really helpful to make a master list and then just literally deal with the thing that's at the most critical level in this moment and see that as all that you need to do for that day. Instead of seeing it as something much larger that you have to do a lot in a day, literally just focus on one small manageable thing per day and think about the things that you really have control over. Often we end up seeing this big picture and all the pieces that we can't manage, that you can't influence what the judge is or isn't going to do. You don't know how fast things will get filed or if they won't. You don't know what new angle your ex might come in with, but you can control only what is under your control. And the rest we have to find a way to let go of, to find a way to ground ourselves despite having these pieces that are beyond our ability to affect or change. So sometimes it's helpful just to find a touch point, somebody that can come alongside of you to offer you support or encourage you, or just even to just practice a grounding practice with you for that day. But I want you to know that I deeply appreciate you reaching out and sharing your story with us. And I want you to know that you're not alone. You're not alone. I know that this is a terrible, painful juncture, but you're not alone. You're walking this out in the encourage with bravery, and for you to share it with me I see that as a sacred thing. So thank you so much for reaching out with this story. And please, thank you anybody who sends something via fan mail. It is not a live text line, so we can't respond back, but I will make a concerted effort to make sure to respond to your messages. So thank you so much for Westminster, California's message today.